Welcome back, loves, to the story behind the story. I am Sierra Melcher of Red Thread Publishing. Today, we have the privilege of being joined by Zarinah El-Amin, her newest book is absolutely amazing. I'm going to rave about it later. I'm going to get her to introduce herself in a second, but you're watching this podcast because you are an aspiring author, you are interested in publishing your book, you want to learn how to get your voice out there because somewhere in you, you know that there's a story. And so you've come to the right place because both of us are all about this. We're going to share about her book. You're going to buy her book because it's going to change your world. You're going to review her book because that's what good readers do. And Zarinah, thank you so much for joining us. Tell us about yourself.
Thank you. I appreciate you reaching out and inviting me. So I'm excited to be here.
Yeah. So tell us about your newest book.
Yeah. So the book Power Method is my newest book. And this book here is really, I would say, the most practical book I've ever written. But it's to inspire and motivate and educate and just help people with the journey of going from blank page to published author, with going from getting their ideas out of their head down onto paper and out there into the world. So it's the same process, the exact same process that I use with my clients, and also the exact same process I teach my students who are learning how to self-publish on their own. But I found that, don't ask me why it took me a little while to do this, but I found that having my process in the book format was the best thing for my students, even though they come and meet me, week to week, and I'm talking to them, they needed something tangible to kind of sink their teeth into, which is what we know, right? You and I both know the power of books, but I didn't have one of my own system. So, slap on the wrist, decided to just go ahead and do that. And it's been beautiful.
Well, and it's really good. There's a lot of books about writing and publishing because you and I are in a similar business. You've been in the business longer than I have. There's a lot of books that give you a part of the journey, right? But I love yours. You and I have a lot of things in common. The chapter that was like, some people are going to find this super boring and some people are going to love it. It's like the cultural history of a book. And I was like, oh my God, I'm a historian. Talk to me about history. I love it. Because it's this ultra modern and it's the oldest tool. It's the oldest society building cultural tool we've ever had. And we as people, we're story creatures. We need story. And there's so many people who have been disconnected from their voice.
Yes.
And so I love the work that you're doing and the work that I'm doing. That's why I love it. To help people reconnect with their own voice, the power of their voice, the impact of their voice on themselves and on countless people once it's in a book form. Because you're the teacher. And when your students are sitting down with you, they can ask you a specific question. But if they want, a question about last lesson or the next lesson, the book, they can just like, and then go where they want to go. It's like discover your own adventure. And the book is such a powerful tool. Thank you for making this. Whether you think you should have made it before, it all happened exactly when it needs to happen.
Thank you. I'm just excited that people are actually reading it. I mean, you all know, everybody knows, like when you put out something, you're like, are they going to find benefit? Is it going to be good? You have all of this imposter syndrome, all these doubts that come up. And, I had two people that really kind of like pushed me over the edge and they brought that little tear. But one of them was my aunt, right? So she came to my book signing. She's how old is my aunt? She's 81. She'll be 81 coming up in August. So she is 80 now. And she was assisting at my book signing. And of course she got my book because she's my aunt, right? But the next day she called me and was like, Zarinah, she was like, I'm supposed to be gone to church and I'm up here reading this book. And she said, I got the book just to support you,
Right.
and I just planned on putting it on the shelf. But she said something made me actually started reading it. And she was like, it's so much bigger than I thought. I thought it was going to be boring about how to write a book. She was like, but it's so much bigger than that. And that like kind of got me, because it was one, like a stamp of approval, an unsolicited stamp of approval. Yeah. And she didn't have to read it, right? She could have just gotten the book and did that. So that like really got me. And then the second one was this other sister who's 86 years old. A lot of my clients, I have the entrepreneurs and such, but then I also have like, the elders who have been dreaming about telling their stories and stuff for a long time. So this particular lady is 86. And so she called me and said that she was just inspired and she feels like she can actually do it, and she'd been wanting to do it for 50 something years and hadn't done it yet. And now she feels like this is her time. So to me, those are the beautiful, 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 I guess, just stamps of approval and appreciation, tokens of appreciation, words of appreciation that I've gotten that have like really like solidified the process for me and made it all worth it. So yeah.
Well, I want to dig into something because our publishing company put out one of our authors' books this week, and she called me on Monday, the day before the book came out. She's like, "Oh no, I don't want to do this. I'm feeling all the things. What if nobody buys this? It's my second book out this summer. What if everyone thinks the first one was good and the second one was bad?" And she was having the moment, right? And she said something like, "And use this, share this with your clients, and then teach them how not to be in this space." And I said, "No, actually, this is the step just before the book comes out. Everyone goes through this step. I'm not going to teach you how to avoid it. You need this because this is tempering you for when tomorrow comes and you're number one in your category and you're like, oh my God, how did that happen?" Right? You need like the pendulum swing. And so I appreciate so much, like, you've got books out, about books, you teach people this all the time, and you're still going through this raw, naked, vulnerable, oh my God, nobody cares what I have to say. And we're wrong. We're always wrong. Thank goodness we're wrong. Sometimes we hear the stories right away. Sometimes we don't. But that doesn't change whether we should show up or not.
Right? Yeah, you're right. Yeah, I think that, as I mentioned in the book, I believe that books are one of the most powerful cultural tools we have as humankind in general, right? But the beautiful thing that I've discovered over the few years that I've been doing this, with different clients and such, are some of the side benefits that come. You mentioned it. You said it's for yourself and then as well as for everybody else. Like I've had some clients, one of my clients was kind of disconnected from her family, right? Like she was estranged really from her daughter. And through the process of writing her book, she was able to reconnect with her daughter. Like that's totally not the goal she set out when she set and wrote her book goals, right? But that's priceless. Like that is something that you could have never. It's way better than being number one on any type of chart.
Well, who cares about that? After connecting with your daughter, you're like, screw all the other goals. Yeah. And she probably didn't put that on the goals list because she thought it was too big.
And I don't even think it was even on her radar to think that something like that would come about. It kind of came around haphazardly, but it was through the process of writing the book that opportunity presented itself. And those types of things come up all the time. So when I talk to people, I tell them, you may have your specific book goal. You may say, I want to use this book to build my business. I want to get X number of people into my pipeline, and 20% of those people, I'm going to convert them into clients. And you can have all of those numbers and such. But when you actually get into it, the personal development is just unprecedented.
Right.
Yeah, you can't even imagine. And it opens up so many different doors and opportunities and ways of being. And it is a personal development tool. And I think that those side benefits are things that, like, you and I, we never really talk all the time about the side benefits, especially when you have the entrepreneurs, because the entrepreneurs want to know, how much money am I going to,
how many days it's going to take me to make my annual goals. Yeah.
Exactly. You know, they have like their money goals and such. And sometimes we kind of lose sight of the other periphery benefits that can oftentimes far outweigh the other side. So to me, that's why I stick with books. It's just one of the most powerful tools that we have.
Yeah. Well, and the other reason, so having read your book, and I think I only connected with you the day the book came out, which was very recently. But I was just, checking out I was just Google searching books, and I found you, and I'm so glad that I did, because you and I also share this, like, write your story to change the world, to the larger conversation of what it means to be human. Some of these other stories are dominating and missing. My Wi-Fi is a little poopy.
That's the benefit. That's like one of the things that you have from living in paradise. Like, you have intermittent internet sometimes, but you have beauty around you. So,
right? I got flowers in my hair and spotty Wi-Fi.
I know. I love it though. I love it. I really want to come down there one day. But you're right. To me, what I call like a power book, I use the word power. My company is called Book Power. Mm-hmm. The method that I teach is Book Power Method. My authors, we call them power authors. But for me, when I said that writing a book is one of the most powerful cultural tools that we have, I sort of work within 3 prongs. And so my clients usually fall within one of these 3. All of them fall within one of these 3. Either 1, they're going to use their book to build their business, right? 2, they may be writing their book to just leave a written legacy, for their family. Like, that's their ultimate goal, just to preserve their ideas for their family. And then 3,
so precious. These older women who are writing their story, they're 86, they don't have 20 years to screw around. They got to, like, do it now.
None of us are promised tomorrow.
Yeah,
none of us are promised tomorrow. So it can easily, be lost and end up 6 feet under the ground. But then, like, the third group of people are the people, like you mentioned, that they may be a combination, but the third group are like, they really want to put this out in order to see our community, our humanity improve, and go to different heights. Like, that's their ultimate goal. They don't really care how much money they make. They just want to get this out there and see people benefit, from their skills, their expertise, their knowledge, whatever it is that they're sharing. So I think you're absolutely right. Authors and writing, we have the ability to make change.
Yeah. More than we know. And I think there's so many things that stop people from writing, so many misunderstandings and false and outdated stories about, who has voice and who gets to use voice and all of that stuff. But the opposing thing is, oh my gosh, I have power, I have influence, my story matters. Some people will turn that and be like, oh, well, then I can't write. I'm like, no, that's not, keep it spinning. Use this, because who knows exactly what you were saying earlier. Who knows what this is going to unlock for you? Who knows what this is going to unlock for another person? A lot of people that I've spoken to are a combination of maybe a little legacy, definitely some entrepreneurs, but there's a lot of women who are like, I want to write the book that I needed when I was in that relationship, or when I was stuck and when I didn't know. And, even if they haven't, like, solved the whole thing, they're like, this is the tool that I needed when. And what greater gift can we give to total strangers than the thing that we needed? Right.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. So I mean, everybody's life is not just for them. It's always to help someone else. You're going through, I just met this chick last night that I haven't seen, like, since middle school. She and I went to middle school together. I'm 42, years old right
Me
now.
too.
So she and I, hey, actually I'm 41. I turned 42. I just realized I'm 41. I turned 42 October. But I haven't seen her, since middle school. And she and I were talking in the line at the hardware store. And, and we were talking about the fact that her story, her mess, if you will, has become her message. That is what she's been helping other people do. And that's really what it's all about. Like, none of us have lives just for ourselves. We are supposed to learn, yes, but you also are supposed to take whatever lesson that it is and then be able to share that outward so that somebody else can do life a little bit easier. And I think if we do that, then we achieve you and our goal, right, of making our humanity better. That's the ultimate goal. Because I could really care less about books per se. It's only about like what's the use of it, how are we making our society better? So they're a tool.
Yeah, exactly. And it's what people can do with the tool that matters, not the tool. So, yeah, I love that.
Yeah.
Oh gosh. As always, I can have these conversations. Everyone on here, I'm like, oh good, let's just keep talking. Let's have a dinner party. We're gonna hang out for 6 hours. I try to keep these succinct. If you are watching this, you need to buy Zarinah's book. You do, because I know you want to write and I know you want to publish. Otherwise you would be watching. There you go. Okay. The book Power Method. I got it on my Kindle. I love it. It is very clear and very succinct and very practicable. That's the whole point of like, how do I do this thing? How do we get from point A to point B? And you walk people through that really clearly, and it isn't dry and boring. It's very relatable too.
Yay!
So, yeah. And I'm going to write all of that in my review. Yeah.
I appreciate it. Yeah, but thank you, Sierra, for what you're doing. You don't have to reach out to other people and highlight and put a spotlight on other people, but you're choosing to. And I think that is, a part of your own personality and the way that you show up in the world. So, we pray that the universe sends everything that you give out, all of the good vibes and everything that you send out to all of your guests and everybody, like that you get that tenfold with everything that you're doing. Yeah. You're cool.
Thanks. I can't help but support other people. I gotta, like we were saying, you just shine the light so that other people can, have their voice be heard. And I appreciate that. As always, thank you for your time. Thank you for this time, but also for the time that went into putting your book out into the world. It is no small effort. So I just wanted to make sure you hear the thanks on that. Every week we are here with another author celebrating her book and how it can help you, how each of our journeys can propel us, because when one person is elevated, we are all elevated. Like, subscribe, follow, all of that social media junk. I will always be here. If I'm going to extend you as well, if you want to support writing your book, reach out to Zarinah, or as always, reach out to us. There is plenty of support to go around. You are not alone. We're in this together. So thank you for tuning in, and we'll see you next week.